everybody, and welcome to this episode of the Reset Podcast. I'm your host, Laura Mignot. This is part of my awesome and fabulous 29 Days of Magic series, where I interview an amazing Black woman for 29 straight days. Yes, it is 29 straight days. I know there's 28 days in February, but this started back on a leap year, so I always continue the number 29. Because there's an infinite number of amazing Black women. And today I'm so excited to have Nicole Anderson, who's the president and founder of NAL Speakers Bureau. And she's got a great story. I can't wait to dive in. Hey, Nicole, welcome.
Hey, Laura. Hey, thanks for having me.
Oh, I'm so delighted to finally see you in person. I think we talked a million times on the phone, but
yes.
see each other in real life. But I'll kick right off. So first question, always the same, answer's always amazing. Yours, I highly doubt will be any different. Nicole, what was your all-time favorite job?
My all-time favorite job was working in a bookstore and at the library. I got to do both because back in the day, I don't know if people remember Walden Books. I was a teenager in Walden Books, and I used to just love being around the books, loved reading them, and also that's where I learned to be a cashier and interact with people. And it was just an easy thing to do. So I've always loved, that was my favorite job out of all the jobs that I've had. Thanks for bringing me back.
This is the point, but dealing with people, reading books, understanding their stories, sort of translate to kind of what you do now, and to hearing people's story. See, this is the thing. It's kind of interesting. Having done almost 400 episodes of this podcast, the original question used to be, what was your first job? And I changed it this year to what's your favorite job? And people kind of still revert back to their teenage jobs. And they all, whatever job they select, always relates to what they do now. There's something about the one that warms your heart the most, or the one that is the thing that you do right now. You found your way to the thing that tickled your heart at the very first moment. So it's really interesting.
That's so interesting. I didn't even think about that until you just mentioned it. And when I talk about my story, what I'm doing now kind of still goes back to my high school and what I also did in high school as well that got me to this point.
And that's such a lovely segue. Why don't you tell us your story? How did we get to be here?
So, I'm from Philadelphia. Go Philly. And
we're going to leave you alone for that as a New Yorker.
Go Birds, although they're not in the Super Bowl, but that's okay.
Also, yes. As Giants, we have Jim Harbaugh now. Go on.
So, born and raised in Philly, as they say. And, child of immigrants. My parents were from Jamaica. Raised by my mother, who had a third grade education and worked really hard at what she did to raise 3 children. So I was the first to go to college, and I didn't really know what I wanted to be when I grew up, but I wanted to do something international. I did know that. And if I go back to high school, I actually got a scholarship to be an exchange student to South America. It's first time on the plane, first time ever out of the city, let alone out of the country. And that inspired me to say, I want to do something global where I'm going to make an impact across the world. And I did a study abroad program in undergrad, still continuing that path. And what's interesting is my first job was with an international company where I was doing forecasting and logistics, but it wasn't the right fit for me. So I ended up going to Comcast and had a great career there, but I was in operations. I was behind the scenes working on customer care issues, vendor management, process improvement. And it wasn't until my mother passed away in 2010 that I realized I wasn't living up to what I'm supposed to be doing in this world. Mind you, I didn't know what that was, but I thankfully had a supportive husband who, we sat down, I quit my job, my big time job, my good job, because you get a good job when you're Caribbean. And
of course, those are the rules.
Yes, those are the rules. You got to just get a good job. I don't care what it is.
I'm still shocked that your Caribbean mother let you go somewhere out of the country in high school, because I'm like, how? Teach me your ways, because my mother would never let me do that.
Yeah, you know what? I think that she trusted me because I was smart and I was a problem solver and I could figure out things and make things happen. She always trusted that I would be okay and make it happen. So, and just going back to that, I went to Chile during a time where there's a dictator in office, Pinochet. And so I was walking around and there were people with machines.
You were there during Pinochet?
Yes. My mom thankfully didn't know anything about that. She didn't know anything.
I was like, she didn't know. I thought there's no way she knew about that and let you go. Because I'm like, man.
No. So when I left, my good corporate job, took some time off, but I stayed connected, doing nonprofit work, working with the domestic violence center in my area, with my university, Temple University Alumni Association, and because I wanted to stay connected and I wanted to make sure that my skills would be crisp when it was time for me to go back in, to the workforce. So I kind of fell into leadership development. After a couple of years, I started selling leadership development programs for high potential women and then ultimately men and women. And I used to say that I'm not a salesperson. I'm an ops girl. I'm the girl that's going to come in and fix it. I'm the problem
Of
solver.
course.
And I
Yeah.
realized that I was actually a good salesperson because I'm a good relationship person. It's about the relationship and giving people what it is they need and they want. And the person who owned the company was a speaker and an author. So I helped her with her book. I helped, pimp her out, for opportunities and learned to be an agent, which was not on my, to-do list when I grew up. And then after about 5 years, I had been meeting so many people that look like us, so many women asking, how do I get on stage? How do I ask for more money? And then I would ask the conferences, do you have any other people besides white men that could speak about leadership, whatever it was? And they would say they can't find us. So that's how NAL was born.
Hmm.
I met with a marketing firm who was doing amazing work working with authors and celebrities and thought leaders, and I had met a bunch of speakers and decided to open a bureau called Nicole Anderson Legacy because I wanted to make a legacy and build a legacy for my children and for the people around me, and launched that right before COVID in January of 2020, which is the best time to launch a speakers bureau.
Oh yeah, because everyone's virtual.
Yes, I won't go through the pain of COVID, but here I am going into my 6th year. I work with a lot of amazing people around the world, and looking to make a positive shift as well. So I went back to working with authors because I like books growing up, and I always said I wanted to do something international at 15 in Chile with guns, machine guns around me, and I run a global company now. So that's kind of the long and short of my story.
Okay, so this I love. It's kind of it's so delightful because again, you love books, so obviously the authors help them tell their stories over and over
Mhm.
again, and here you go. So now I have to ask it because I'm not sure people need to want to know how does one know when they are ready to get on a speakers bureau? What's the process of like vetting and like are there fees? Sort of kind of give us a little bit of the 101 about what this area is all about.
So I believe that everybody has a story, to tell. And everyone has lessons that they've learned or and lessons that they want to impart, to people, to continue inspiring people and wanting to do good in the world. However, there are times when people have to put some things in place and they actually have to invest in becoming a speaker, just like you invest in becoming a doctor, just like you invest in becoming an accountant. And when people come to me and they say, I want to do more speaking, I want to get on stage and do more, the first thing I ask them, are you doing speaking right now? The second thing I ask them, when you speak on stage, what happens after you get off stage? And they kind of look at me like, I don't know. I mean, people come talk to me. I said, okay, good. So people come talk to you. Is there anything else that happens? And usually they just have this blank stare. And so the question I always ask is, did you get booked from the stage? If you got booked from the stage, that means that you have great content. You have content that people want to share with other people because they've seen you, they've seen your story, they can relate to it, and you're going to get another opportunity from that. So when you get to that point, you're a bookable speaker. And one of the other things I have to educate people about is the difference between working with a bureau, a speaker manager, a speaker agent. When you get to the bureau, you already have to be packaged. You have to be baked, already. So that because if you can book yourself, then we can book you. And if you have great materials, your materials will speak about you before you're even in the room. So I generally talk to people about getting a speaker manager to help them, one, understand their craft a little bit, making sure that their speech is correct and is usable, making sure that their branding materials is doing really well, making sure they have social media and there's an interaction between them and they have a client base basically, or I'm going to say they have an audience or fan, base. they have to get to that level in order for them to become part of a speaker bureau. Now there's some people who kind of fast track, they're able to do some of that work themselves, but a majority of the people that I meet have to do some of that work ahead of time to make sure that they can, get their name out there and have a viable career as a speaker.
And when folks are, and can folks make a good living as a speaker? Like, is it like, hey, listen, like the upper echelon makes like six figures a speech, and like there are folks who can just kind of do things kind of on the side, and they make like $5,000 or $6,000.
I'm going to say is you can, that's my dog, sorry about that. There are people that are making millions of dollars as a keynote
Right.
speaker. Not everybody is in that bucket, but you can make a very good living. And one of the things that I learned when I went to this course a couple months ago, or last year actually, they bucketed speakers in four different buckets. The buckets are the astronauts, the athletes, and the actors. Those are the people that bring the conference goers to the conference. Like think Philadelphia, think PA Conference for Women. When they have Mel Robbins, everybody's coming to see Mel Robbins. So they're getting top dollar, right? And getting that money. The second bucket are your A-list alternate, folks. And those are the people that might be famous, but you may not remember where they're from. So sometimes I use the example of Erica Alexander. When I say Maxine Shaw, people are like, oh yeah, Maxine Shaw, right? Because they may not remember her name per se, but she is famous and I love her. She's one of my favorites. But you always have to add that sentence to say she or he is from this thing. The third bucket are your icons in an industry. So think your technology icons, think your healthcare icons. If Steve Jobs were alive, he'd be a technology icon. They're specific to a specific industry, and people are coming to a conference to see those people. Then you have the fourth bucket, which are the experts, and that's all of the rest of us, right? You can still make a very good living, right? Me included. And you can get anywhere from getting paid to nothing to getting paid, 30, 40, 50, $60,000, per keynote. But the most important thing that people need to think about is what you're putting in is what you're getting out. If you're not investing in your craft, you're not going to get to be $1 million, speaker. And the speakers that I know that are at that level have invested heavily in their speeches, in their writing. They do the research. They are connecting, and they're connecting with the audiences in a way that people keep wanting them to come back more and more. So you can make a good living, but it all depends on what you put into it.
And what are some of the mistakes folks make? Because it's funny, because like again, I've been taking mental notes for this. We'll talk later.
Yeah.
But like, what are because I'm sure folks go at this all kind of batting it wrong ways. Like, what are some things to avoid when you again start going down this road of like, I want to investigate doing this.
Yeah. The couple pitfalls that I see with speakers is one, the amount of time that they're giving to their craft, right? I talked about that already. But the other part is it's a muscle that you have to work. So you're going to have to, in the beginning, speak at events and conferences potentially for free as you are working that muscle, as you are working on your storytelling, as you are working on your what you're an expert, in. You got to work that muscle. The other thing too is when speakers are talking to organizers and then they do the speech, when they bomb, it's because they didn't meet the needs of the organizer or the client that asked them to speak about X, Y, and Z, and you decided, you know what? No, I want to speak about I want to speak about ABC. And I've had to give feedback to speakers who did not meet the criteria that the organizer had given them to speak about. And that's the last thing, not receiving feedback well. There's a lot of divas in the world, and we're not perfect, but some of us think we're perfect. And feedback is a gift. It's a gift in the speaking industry. And the speaking industry is big but small at the same time. And if you're not listening to the feedback from the last group of people that you spoke to, like if you were just rambling or if you didn't make sense and all these things and didn't change that for the next one, you're going to bomb as a speaker and you're going to fail, too. So those are kind of some of the high points that I have seen where people have failed in their craft with trying to get to the next level, speaking.
It's true. Well, as with everything, it's just like listen to people. I think you
Yeah.
don't know everything.
You
Like
don't know
step one.
everything.
And I mean, understanding that feedback is a gift is, I think, a really important thing. Like I said,
Mhm.
I've gotten some great advice over the years, which was feedback, where I'm like, oh, ow, but thank you, ow,
Um,
thanks. It was did that. Thanks, got
yeah.
it.
And when I failed, it's because I didn't listen to feedback because, we all have an ego, right? But you got to get over that ego and realize that as a speaker, you're here to serve. You're really here to serve the community that you're speaking to, the audience that you're speaking to. So it's that servant leadership mindset that you also have to have in play.
And for you at NAL, what are sort of the types of speakers that you guys work with?
So we work with everyone. We work with everyone that are mission driven and looking to make a positive shift. And it sounds like a naive mission, but it's something that's meaningful to me. When I am meeting
Nicole,
with folks, obviously I look at their video, I
Nicole.
look at their topics, and in conversation with them, I can sense and tell if they're the real deal and they believe it. So, for example, if you're a person that says, I am all about women, and as we talk as I look at your materials, you never mention Black women or Asian women and all those kinds of things. I'm like, okay, so you're really not living your mission of supporting women, all women. If you're a person who talks about, and I've actually had celebrities that I've listed, and they've had some challenges, in the media with, lots of different allegations. So I've delisted them because they're not the right fit, for, NAL. But for the most part, the folks that want to make change happen in the world are really experts in their field. I mean, they can really research it and they can tell you from point A to point B. People who are nice and kind, I work with those people as well. And because if you're not nice and kind with me and my staff, you're not going to be nice and kind to the conference organizers and the events that I send you to. And that's pretty consistent. Well, so most of the people, 99% of the people are kind and nice. Um, those are kind of the high points of the people that we bring on to NAL. You have to know your craft. You
Awesome.
have to live it. You have to be able to take feedback, and you have to be nice and kind and good at what you do.
You mean common decency? What a concept! Like just
It goes a long way.
small. It goes a long
A
way.
long way. It's very simple.
Um, so thinking about all the really awesome stuff you've done, like, what do you think was that sort of a moment of reset for you?
When my mother passed away, actually two times. When my mother passed away, I realized I wasn't living up to my full potential, and when she passed away, she worked at a hospital for 36 years. Immigrant coming here, she made a decent living
A nurse.
supporting
She was
us.
a nurse with
She
nurse
was
with
a
hospital
she was
worker.
in environmental services, so she was a housekeeper, and you know, she wanted to do something else, but she didn't know how to do it. And so when I got to that point when she passed away, I said, you know what? I am at the age where I want to be able to say I did something with my life that I love. I did work, that I love, that I come in every day smiling and have joy. And of course, there's always going to be days that are not great, but I wanted to get to a point where I had joy in my life from a work, standpoint. And so as I went through that evolution, I went through a deep depression, over several years. And once I figured out what clicked for me was I realized that I am my mother's child. I am a child of God. And God has a plan for me because he kept bringing things to me and people into my life I kept saying, I didn't understand why. But when I just sat back and listened and let go and let God, that's when things started to happen, for me. That's when NAL was born, even right before COVID. And for
Like,
me to still be here and to get to the point where I can book Barbara Corcoran or Mel Robbins or Edwina Finley and all these other people it's pretty spectacular and amazing. So I had to let go and let everything happen the way it's supposed to be for me.
I love that. And it's true. I mean, also, every Caribbean child has the same thing about, wait, do I have a job that I love or do I have a job
Right.
forever? And like, and every Jamaican parent worked in some degree of a hospital. And like, you do nothing in that field. You're like, yeah, nothing. I want nothing to do with that
Nothing.
at
No, I
all.
talked to my aunt the other day, and she was talking about her granddaughter going into nursing, and she does digital work. So she does graphic design. She does a lot of AI design. And she's like, how is she going to make money off of that? I said, she doesn't have to be a nurse. You can make a lot of money, doing the stuff that she's doing. Like, let her be. She doesn't want to be a
She
nurse.
just let us go, please.
Right.
Yeah, my mom doesn't know what I do for a living.
People still don't know what I
No,
do for a living. They're like, what?
she literally, it was the holidays, and like some relative was like calling, boasting about their child, and it's like, and she's like, oh, and Laura has a business. I don't know what it is.
Well, you'll find this funny. I told my grandmother I was a pimp. I said, I'm a pimp for good, mama. Okay. I'm a pimp for good.
I kind of feel like my mother would slap me with the phone if I did that, but hey, listen, it is interesting though because I think we are. I hate the where our ancestors' wildest dreams thing, but it is interesting that when I think about the fearlessness it takes for an immigrant woman to come to America and just figure it out,
Yes.
and then they do, and then they raise daughters who not only figure it out, whatever that may look, and it's but it's you're figuring it out in your own way, where you don't
Mm-hmm.
have to follow the ascriptions of what you were told.
Right.
And if that's not their greatest gift and legacy, then nothing else is. Like
Yeah.
for what your mom was able to do, what my mom was able to do, and lots of other moms are able to do. Again, figuring it out to be like, now we have jobs we can't really explain,
Right.
but they pay really well. It gives us a good degree of autonomy, and we're choosing joy in the jobs we have. Like
Yes.
that is actually their greatest legacy and something
Yeah.
to be immensely proud of.
Yeah. And we can rest. We can rest because
What
I
is
was
that?
talking, I was talking to a friend of mine, Belungi, and she says I had never met a black woman that didn't rest when I was growing up. And when she said that to me, I had to think about it. My mom, my aunts, they never rested. And I listen, I would go to the beach and sit down for days. I know how to go to the spa and rest. I know how to sit down and reset and then get back up and work, really hard. And I think that's also a part of our legacy, too. Of their legacy is that we get to rest for them. And we can.
110%. Like it
Mhm.
is that thing. I now whenever I go somewhere, like, mom, I can do it. It's cool. We're going to the spa. Let them
Yeah.
deal. Let the brothers do that. Like, yeah, it's fine. But it is a really impactful, and I think it sort of pushes us forward in a way that I don't even think we think about unconsciously.
Mhm.
But it is such a good thing. And
Yeah.
thinking about that, what's one thing you're really grateful for?
I am grateful for my family. I my husband of how many years have we been together? We've been married 23 years, something like that. And he is my rock. He's been very supportive, with my crazy. He's been supportive with me leaving my good job and being a great partner, raising my children, being a wonderful father, to them. And I have so much gratitude because I don't think I could have done it without him.
I
I
love
couldn't have done it without
that.
him. Yeah. Yeah. So don't tell him that. Don't tell him, show him this part.
I, I can't exactly edit this part out, Nicole. Sorry. Tell him to listen to the first 21 minutes of the interview. How about that? After that, like
Okay.
that. After we talk about mothers and legacy, there's nothing else he needs to listen to.
Right.
Got it? Cool.
Got it. Got it.
Uh, and and thinking about all that, like, and again, looking back on all the things you've been able to do, what do you think you'd tell 18-year-old Nicole?
I would tell her to relax. I would tell her to stop trying to solve problems that are not yours to solve. Focus on you and listen to what is in your spirit and believe that you are a badass. You're bigger than what you could even imagine. That's what I would tell her because she didn't believe that for a long time.
Oh yeah, know that one
Hmm.
very well. Like, really? I
Yes.
can do that? Yes, you can.
Yes. Yes, you can. You can be in these
Yes.
rooms. You can travel all over the world. You can have conversations about life changing events and have meaningful relationships and have meaningful, um, just a meaningful life. I would tell her, you got it, girl. Just relax. Just relax.
I love it. So impactful and so necessary. Okay, now last question for you. Now, do you have a give and or an ask of the audience?
Do I have a give or a
Nicole, you're
get?
frozen.
I'm not sure if this is still recording.
You froze.
Hopefully it is. Okay, there we
You
go.
You froze. Yeah, you froze. After I said, "Do you have a give or an
There
ask?"
we
You
go.
froze. Can you hear me?
Yes. I
Okay, cool.
can hear you
All
now. I can
right.
see you
So,
now. Okay.
all right, cool.
Yes.
Give or an
So do
ask?
I have a
What do you
give?
got?
So I do have an ask. Like my goal is to be a resource for companies and organizations all around the world. Like I mentioned, I started this business because they said they couldn't find us. And while I happen to be a black owned business and a woman owned business, I'm here to serve. So when we are trying to solve problems for organizations, I just happen to send everybody. I send people of color. I send Asian people. I send Indian people. I send white women. I send white men. And so we are here as a resource so that companies know that they can always find us. So that I don't believe in that. That should not ever be the answer ever again. That we can't find black folks, Asian folks to get on stage and talk about leadership, resilience, and all the things that are impacting the world.
I love that. And we will put all the details in the show notes so folks can find you. Because you have the magic sauce in your roster, and they're necessary. And no matter what is going on outside the world, you need people who know what they're talking about.
Hmm.
And that's what you've got.
Exactly.
Awesome. Well, Nicole, oh no, you froze again.
Okay. Sorry, I don't know if it's my connection. Um,
You know, the internet guys are evil. It's one of those things.
they are. They are.
They straight up are all good. Well, Nicole, you've been an absolute delight to have on the show, and you've given a lot of really important, impactful, important information that people need. Because I think, especially this world of understanding what speakers and seeing what looks like, oh my god, how are they doing this? And like, it's actually doable.
Hmm.
So you're gonna help a lot of folks, and I love, love, love hearing your story. And always another Jamaican. It's
Yeah, yeah,
great.
man. Well, and
Yeah.
I have to say thank you, Laura. Thank you for all that you do to support
Oh,
women
thanks.
and support Black women. Like you're one of those people that is good, has good intent, and will always be real to make things happen. You are one of those make it happen kind of people, and I just
Aw.
appreciate you. I appreciate
Oh,
you.
thank you so much. I really appreciate that. I love receiving flowers. You really do. Cool.
Take them. That's right.
And
That's right. You deserve it.
I receive. I am in the state of receiving. It's my morning mantra. I am in the state of receiving, so I take all of it.
Yeah.
But thank you so much for doing this. Like I said, I love doing 29 days because it just gets me to meet this dope ass black woman every single day. Thanks again for being on the show.
Yeah.
And that's our show.
Yeah.